said it was a best of three.
Okay, because they were arguing. I wasn't sure. We'll assume it's a best of three. Best of three, right? Hang on. Because I stopped reading chat. I didn't see if they confirmed it. Okay, it is a best of three. It's sad to see that it's such a low count for such great players, but this will be a good series nonetheless. Spawning here in the bottom left corner of the map from Acer, Team Acer, Acer Esports, however you want to know them. It's the Red Terran MMA.
That was sick, yo.
Yeah, that's it too. I was pretty proud of it.
The bottom right, as the blue Zerg, it is Hyun.
Interesting they still on Rocket. It was a little sad to see this morning the announcement of Rocket and Damaga parting ways. I'm just assuming that was an end of contract thing though, because they've been together for like a good 2 years or something at this point. But yeah, really glad to see Hyun here. Both players playing from Europe, both players playing from Germany, oddly enough. 2 Koreans living in Europe.
Yeah. That's why the European server is still A-okay.
I like Hyun too, by the way. Like both these guys have such a good personality side of the game. And what I mean by good personality is not saying that they're really nice people, but they've got this really nice sort of interactivity, like with other people. They can actually focus on the game too. And what?
They're also nice people.
Well, that too. But the thing I want to bring up, and I mentioned it before with MMA. Last time he was in Europe. Last time he was in Germany for WCS, we asked him to do some show matches because someone had donated us money. You know, like, hey, can we get an MMA show match going? And MMA said, I would love to, but I gotta go back to Korea and train for WCS next season. I really want to win. Now, sadly, that's not gonna be the case, I think, this season, but he's really focused on the game, and he didn't want to spend even a minute, not for any amount of money, wasting his time not getting better at this game. Hyun's kind of got that same mentality, where he'll play in 1,000 online tournaments, but a lot of the times, yes, sometimes it's easy cash, but it's more about the practice for him. He said it before in the past too. Snoop's been one of those people as well that have reigned true, saying like you're gonna get a lot better practice out of the finals of a Go4 StarCraft than you will grinding any amount of ladder matches. So they've got this really nice, healthy mentality about the game. They're really nice people. I couldn't speak higher of either of these two playing here in the finals, honestly.
Pretty much, Riff just wants to marry them.
Right? Polygamy, please.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
gay polygamy. Let's get this going, United States.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I will get on that. You gotta move to Europe, actually, you know.
Oh, is that sort of thing okay in Europe? They're weird over there. I mean, anything goes, right? I've seen like Beer Fest. I know how that works.
Eurovision?
Oh, Eurovision.
I saw some of that.
Euro Trip 2 was like the other weird one. But okay, all goofiness aside though, guys. I mean, the bottom line is, if you're new to StarCraft 2, these are 2 of the best players you're going to see of their respective races, quite frankly. And it's worth noting, I'm going to go for the Command Center first or something I did not really expect on Frost, but I guess... assuming Hyun's not going to be the type of player to go for like an earlier pool. Not going to try and cheese him out.
Yeah, rarely ever do you see early pulls, because the one instance where they work is literally if you 14cc on the low ground. Even a 10 pull. A 10 pull can actually maybe break down a wall if you 14cc on the high ground, but it's a risk still, so that's why we usually don't see it.
I don't think the 10 pull can. I remember there's this big debate with Major and Suppy and Kanelum. I think it was the 6 pull was the only one that could do that, right? Because he did that versus the Muslim.
Maybe that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, you're probably right. I thwant the 10 pull was like life against Flash too. Anyways, the point is that it's a very low, like it's like if they want to Reaper expand, you're absolutely screwed. If they have into a wall up on the front, you're screwed. Like it's just not worth it. Now, unfortunately for a Zerg player, you can't go for a 3 hatch. You know, if you were facing a Protoss and you wanted to be greedy because you figured they were being greedy.
This is gonna be bad. He doesn't have the full wall off. If he gets this is bloody, okay, never mind. Suddenly this goes from bad to MMA's good.
Yeah, so you can't go for a 3 hatch versus a Terran, because on the off chance that they do go for just a Reaper expand, which they certainly do on big maps, you have a hell of a time trying to kill that Reaper without the spawning pool ready.
Yeah. Actually, I was a bit curious to see for Hyun too. For a moment, you gotta kind of do a double take as a Zerg player. You're like, oh, it's 4 minutes in. There's no Reaper in my base. Must have been CC first.
Yeah, it's an easy tell. We also see that Hyun has finally decided or figured out where, of course, MMA is, but is MMA scouted where Hyun is? He would have seen the Overlord, maybe?
That would probably be his best get. Yeah, he'll know it's in the bottom right. I've seen it down here.
Oh, a Roachborn.
It's kind of become Hyun's thing lately. He's the king of Roaches, he's the king of online cups. Put those together and you have Hyun.
Yeah, and that is... It's just like, you know... You could face them up against like the top #1 player in the world, you know, and you know, usually be like, oh, if they're facing an offline finals, like, okay, this guy definitely wins. But online finals gives Hyun like a +10 to winning or something. It's just he's really good on online. I don't know.
Well, the Hellions are going to be a little not so good here versus the Roaches, but the Banshee should be able to hold. Oh, but it's, you know what? It's Hyun. Yeah, I was going to say Roach Baneling on the way if there's not going to be anything else. And he's the only one who always consistently does this with a third hatch for production. A lot of players will try and do this off 2 bases, and oftentimes what ends up happening is they're just shy a couple of Roaches, a couple of Banelings from breaking their opponent. MMA seeing this is going to, well, think Roaches right away, of course, but if he knows that this is Hyun, of course, he's going to know his Banelings mixed up with it. This is just
look at this. He absolutely knows. Yeah. Like, okay, so here's the thing about what Hyun does. When you get a third base, and if you get 5 Roaches, it's not a big deal. Those 5 Roaches do need to be precautionary against the Hellions attack. You know, they're a lot easier to deal with. You don't go like that jump unless you know your opponent, or you get a scan off and see a Baneling nest. These Banshees are really going to help out as well. They can start targeting down the Banelings. They are more fairly close, though. Yeah, so morphing them close is good.
MMA might just have what it takes to hold this, though. The first couple bunkers are absolutely going to die. My question is, does he abandon the natural? Some players will just pick him and leave, but, oh, you know what? There's no secondary wall up at the top. There's no, there we go. He's realizing this a little too late as well.
Well, he didn't pull the SCVs, so while Hyun, Hyun's not going to go for SCVs.
No, that's the thing. He'll go right to the bunker now. This was a connection he needed to have down, so they would have eaten all the Banelings instead of get through and take out the bunker as well. He's going to hold, I think, but...
Yeah, he actually holds better than I expected, because he doesn't kill that many SCVs. He has 47 SCVs to 38 drones, and now he's successfully evacuated the natural as well.
He needs to plug that hole, though, even though he's got Hellions.
He doesn't actually have to. The Hellions plus the Widowmine, see?
Okay. You got it, Go.
It's a completely, like, good hold. And the thing about killing the natural SCVs is that's the least you could do. You know, at least you get the 20-something SCVs that are down there.
Well, the recovery process begins, and for Hyun, that was definitely an all-in start, but you only got 2 workers for it. It's so frustrating to consider, like, whether that's worth it or not to fall back off of. He doesn't have any tech behind this, but he can try and go with a follow-up all-in. There are some Zerg players who do have that mentality where it's like, where one all-in fails, just go for another.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And what's nice about Hyun is that Hyun is the person who doesn't mind taking this composition, Roach Baneling, into a long game. He will stay on this for longer than you would expect, you know? And actually make it work. And it is a very powerful like composition until you realize you don't have anything to stop drops. And of course, eventually, they do become obsolete as MMA gets 2-2 and a lot of medevacs and everything.
The Widowmines were really clutch at the same time. This would have been really nice against the Roaches had the Zerglings not been as big of an issue. But 2 Banshees heading towards the main. These Queens are, well, they're actually probably going to hold against us. These do not have cloaks, so backs away immediately.
Yeah. And nope out of there. There's 5 Queens ready to deal with them.
Just nope. Check Skype for a sec when you get a moment, please. But still 15 drones coming out. Hyun says, you know what? I may not have won with that attack, but he's feeling so confident with the amount of army damage he did that there wouldn't be a counterattack. And he's not entirely wrong in that regard. But as the game starts going on, he's going to eventually have to stop making these drones and start making units again. Even a macro hatch should be taken at the 3rd. Well, double evos at the same time. I mean, he's preparing for it's like slow and behind. His upgrades will be late. He's getting Baneling speed now, so he can deal with the Bioforce a little bit better. But I don't know. I feel like MMA's in such a good spot. As long as he doesn't throw away like a terrible engagement, he should stay ahead for this game. In fact, actually, he's not starting his 2-2 yet. If he had his 2-2 on the way, this would be like absolutely the best case scenario for him, because Hyun's not even started his 1-1.
Yeah. Fortunately, a little late in that armory as he was, having to deal with something a little bit earlier. Counterattack tries to go in for Hyun to the natural, but it is taken care of, but just with the reinforcements. Only a few Banelings at the front could be sniped off.
Well, he does have stim and combat shields, so I mean, with perfect control, I can actually try and take a wiggle fight, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a perfect position, off of creep as well, you can definitely snipe down all the Banelings and be pretty okay. These Banshees being alive are also they could be a serious help when Banelings come and they're slow, although they're gonna be slow for much longer. It's pretty easy to snipe them off with the Banshees.
Well, it's interesting to see him transition back towards like the Ling Bane Muta composition after the failed Roach Baneling all in, but the nice thing about Banelings is they don't need upgrades as nearly as much as Zerglings do, so he can still take some engagements. And Hyun's really good at having like round 2 of Banelings ready, where a lot of players that's where they fall in this matchup. But The Banshee's still being alive. The Helmet's on the front lines. This makes it so difficult to deal with. And oh my goodness, MMA just absolutely squashes that defense.
Yeah, this is game over right now. That one Baneling tries to be a hero.
Even with those
Not gonna
connects, the
happen.
Marines with 1 health, like they still get healed up by the Medivacs. Hellbats are still strong on the front lines. There's no Banelings behind this. Upgrades are way too late. 42 links on the way. He's already lost the Mutalists. This is MMA's game. Game number 1, pretty much locked down here. There we go, GG. Yikes. Well played by MMA. That defense, that couldn't have been better.
No, it could not have. I don't think you can take no damage from it, but he took almost no damage.